Setlogane Manchidi, who's the head of corporate social investment at Investec in South Africa, and he's going to help us unpack what all this means for our future. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, and welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having us, Peter.
Mr. Manchidi, let's start with this whole story. I mean, this debt servicing now is claiming about 16 cents in every round of government spending, even outpacing allocations to education and healthcare in proportion. So, what does this tell us about South Africa's fiscal priorities, in your view?
I think we are obviously under fiscal pressure, and it is inevitable that all service-oriented departments, be it health, be it housing, be it whichever, including basic education, would come under strain, which is unfortunate, especially in light of the pressing demands on education. But perhaps, Peter, let it be seen as a blessing in disguise, because on average, South Africa still spends much more than many emerging economies on basic education, even with a squeeze in hand.
Issue, and this isn't a problem not peculiar to South Africa, is trying to find the balance between development and the trade-off rather between debt versus development. Finally got there.
Yeah, I think being the developmental state that we are, we ought to prioritize particularly pieces like education. But I think what the key question we've got to ask, which we haven't asked for many years, I don't think enough of it anyway, is, are we getting bang for our buck in education? In essence, I'm asking us to reflect on inefficiencies in education spend, leakages, be it in the form of ghost teachers, corruption, procurement challenges, and all these other pieces, is to really tighten. I say it often that there are many good teachers in the system, but equally, being so close to the system, I also witness when I visit schools and engage with learners that there are teachers, for example, who are often not present at school. And even those who are present at school, some of them are not present in class doing what they should be doing, yet they remain teachers on our payroll. And these are challenges that we ought to really seriously think about to tighten. And it doesn't matter that we're a developmental state. We've got to be a developmental state that still delivers quality education that is of value to its citizens.
So if I'm reading you correctly, you're suggesting that it's a great thing that we spend so much on education, even though we're seeing it being reduced by debt. The key now is going to be, going forward, getting as much out of each rand spent on education than ever before.
And I think that's the key. I think that's an exercise that we should have done a long time ago. But I do think fiscal pressures such as these force us inevitably to have a look and a hard look at ourselves and saying, I often say the basic education system, for example, has been in ICU for some time, and it hasn't quite delivered. It is very challenged. Look at, if you take maths performance in this country, if you look at Tim's study, we are at the bottom of the list. So clearly something has to give. We've really got to seriously say, how is it that we spend this much, and yet the matric results, as much as they are so improved, they don't improve to the same extent in STEM-related subjects.
Engagement. We're also seeing, sadly, a declining engagement in STEM subjects like pure mathematics. How serious is this trend, and why? And what a long-term damage could we see as a result of this?
Peter, This is very worrisome. It is very worrisome. You have an economy, a business sector, you have a society in need of STEM-related skill sets, either in the form of doctors, in the form of economists, in the form of chartered accountants, in the form of scientists, in the form of engineers. And yet, there is a dwindling number of those who are taking pure maths. Instead, they are opting for maths literacy, and sometimes not quite opting for. I think they are encouraged in pursuit of what is called a better pass rate per school to take up maths literacy as opposed to pure maths. And now we can't talk the ability to address the skills gap if we to encourage as many people to take up maths, pure maths, but not only take up pure maths, perform well in pure maths. I mean, we've seen it. We've run Promise for the last 20 years, and this year it's our 20-year anniversary. And that in that program alone, year on year, we have matriculated about 1,300, between 1,300 to 1,006, and we have contributed at least between 6 and 7% of the distinctions nationally in mathematics, and between 8 and 9% of distinctions in science. And we have seen that it's not only just about the distinctions that we've contributed. Many of those who have obtained these distinctions have gone to varsity, have been better placed to pursue degrees in chartered accountancy, in engineering, in a whole host of other fields. And not only that, they have made it out on the other end, many of them in record time, and today are active economic participants. Now, that's what you need. That's what you need. You need as many of these kind of careers to be pursued, because that's where there's a higher chance, or a better chance anyway, of gaining employment going forward. If you're talking about the digital divide, if you're talking about all those others, we still need the skill sets that require people's understanding of maths in particular, and maybe in some instances science.
So, where is the problem? You've already alluded to getting more bang for our buck in terms of investment in education. Does that mean also that we're not producing enough good STEM teachers?
Well, it's very challenged, and let me tell you what the challenge looks like. One, in our public schooling system, Peter, we still have serious overcrowding. Now, that is the problem, where the teacher ratio is 1:65 in a class, and yet you're expected to learn maths and teach maths and science. You have a situation where there are inadequately, to your point, inadequately qualified maths and science teachers standing up in front of classes teaching maths and science. And that also is a challenge on its own. You also have instances where material such as textbooks and all that does not reach you on time. But more so, which is critical, is you do not have enough contact time spent on the subject per se. Now, many people who are in matric this year are likely to write their exams not having completed their maths curricula or syllabus at all. Now, that's a challenge. You cannot examine everyone on an equal footing, assuming that they were taught everything that they need to be taught, but assuming that they had all the support material that they had, but also assuming that they were given the individualized attention as best as possible, which is just about impossible given the class sizes. So we have a very seriously challenged education system that perhaps, Peter, one of the pieces we've got to ask is over 30 years post-democracy, this education system, while the matric results have improved, while we have facilitated access, we have failed dismally on ensuring quality. Is it an adequate system? Do we really need to review the delivery and how best to realize change over the next 30 years?
And that's where we're going to have to leave it. Lots to be done, clearly. But thank you so much indeed for sharing your thoughts on this pressing and burning issue. Thank you so much, Setlogane.
Thank you.
That's Setlogane Manchidi, Head of Corporate